This is my sketch illustration of a raven, and today I'm going to guide you through each of the steps so that you could draw this yourself. So grab a pencil and paper and let's get started. Welcome back everyone, and thanks for joining me today. For this lesson, we're going to start off with this 0.7mm mechanical pencil with a 2B graphite stick. Now if you don't have a mechanical pencil, anything you have around the house will work just fine. For this drawing, I want to think of the raven being divided into three parts. We got the head, the torso, and then the tail. So we want to start by blocking out the basic shape and angles first. So start at the very top. We're just going to separate the head area with the body with a straight line. From left to right, go all the way across. Now we want to add the basic shape of the head. Starting in the center of the page, draw a straight line going up towards the top of the head, go across towards the left. Now it's going to slope the back of the head, coming down towards the neck. Along the top, we're going to step down, draw a straight line. We're going to extend this out across the beak towards the right. Now in the center, just up above that line, we're going to draw a small circle for the eye. Let's go to the bottom corner of the head. We're just going to angle the body, coming all the way down to right about there. Let's draw a straight line to separate the body from the tail. And then going to the right side, we're going to draw another angled line. We're going to go a little bit wider as we come down towards the bottom. Now let's add the basic shape of the tail. From here, step over, draw a straight angled line, flatten this off. Now draw that same angled line coming up underneath the body. In this area, we're going to angle the feet and the legs coming down and across towards the same height. Now I'm just going to have them standing on a piece of wood, so we're going to flatten that off and just pull this down towards the bottom. Now we just established the rough proportions of the raven, so we're going to go back and add a little bit more detail and shape, just working within that bounding area. So along the top here, it's going to round out the head, going up and then down. Let's round out the back of the head, going out. It's going to round out the base of the neck, pulling that in towards the shoulder. And then from the front, we're going to come out towards the beak, curve this down, and then in towards the neck. Now it's going to round out the base of the neck with a curve going across, and this will help us guide us with the feathers later. Now we're going to go back to the eye. It's going to enhance the outside. Let's pull that out towards a point toward the left and right. So there's a little point on the sides. And then along this line, I'm just going to add a curve for the beak, going across. Let's bring that down toward the tip. Let's go back up to where the head meets this line. Draw the edge of the beak going out, and I'll bend that down towards the tip. Let's draw the bottom of the beak. We come down and then in. Now let's just pull that up towards the corner of the mouth. Just going to round out the edge of the beak along the top. Let's go down towards the bottom. I'm just going to draw the body, bend this out, and then in towards the bottom. Now I'm just going to draw the back of the wing, going around, and just tucking that in towards the side. Now over on the right side, let's curve this around, and then bend that down towards that bottom corner. Now in the center of the body along the top, I'm just going to round up the edge of the wing, coming around. Let's taper this down, and then out towards the bottom. Let's round up the body, curve this down, and then up. Now we want to add a little bit more shape to the tail. So just going to curve this around towards the bottom. Let's bend this up towards the top. Now I'm going to add another layer underneath the body. Bend this down and then in behind. Let's add one more point and just tuck that in along the bottom. Now for the legs, we're just going to add some thickness across this line along the outside. And we're just going to bend that in towards the ankles. Now the one on the left, we're just going to make this a little bit shorter. Just going to raise this leg up a little bit. And then we're just going to add a little block to just separate the feet. So we've got the volume of the feet along the bottom. Now we're just going to tuck the wood piece underneath. And we can add pretty much any shape we want. Just going to make this look a little bit more natural and organic. Now that I have the rough sketch in place, let's go back and clean this up by erasing some of these guidelines. Now once we clean up our drawing, I'm going to go back to the eyes and continue to add some more shape and details. So I'm just going to round this out and a little bit more shape on the outside. Add a trim around the eyes. Now I want to add a glare, so I'm going to start with a curve across the middle, and then the highlight is going to be on the right side, it's a little square. Let's darken up the bottom of the eye. And add a medium shade on the left side along the top. Now I'm going to work our way across towards the beak. Just going to add some feathers, some fur texture going across the top towards the top of the beak. We'll add some more shape. And some texture across the inside edge of the beak going out, around the corner of the mouth. Let's draw the bottom of the beak coming down and then in. And work our way across the top of the head. Just going to brush this down towards the side. I'm just going to add a little bit of texture of fur along the back of the head, coming up and in. Continue across this base. And just soften that up as we come in. Let's go back up underneath the chin. It's going to add that soft texture of fur coming down. Across the bottom. Brush this out towards the side. And I'm just going to bring that down towards the neck. Add some more texture. Now just working within this curve, it's going to separate the feathers and the fur. Just bring that up so it's a little bit darker across the bottom. I'm just going to taper that up towards the top. And just layer on some more texture inside. I'm going to go back and add another layer of fur just underneath. You can just pulling this up underneath the head and add another layer. Now each of these layers starts off with a darker edge across the bottom. I'm just going to taper that up towards the top. So we're just separating each of those sections across the bottom. You can also pull some of that texture going up and then down. Now I'm just going to work our way across the inside edge of the wing, just pulling some of that texture of the feathers, going across and then out. And then we'll go back to the body. Again, just adding some layers. I'm going to pull some of that feathering out. These little points coming down towards the bottom. We also layer some of that texture inside the body of the feathers. So these little curves with a little bit of texture across the bottom. I'm just going to taper that down towards the bottom. See that I'm just separating the feathers along the outside edge, coming down the wing. continue to add some of that texture inside the wing, starting from the top. And we're just roughing this in right now, just getting the fill inside. We can come back and add more detail later. Now we're going to separate the talons, just roughly working our way around the first claw, and just working within this box area. Just going to add the other claws. I'm just going to rough this in. Just layer the wood block in behind. Now I'm going to go back in and just clean up our drawing one final time before we add some contrast and shading. And once we've done our cleanup, we're going to go back using my 0.9mm pencil. Just going to add some more details and contrast to our drawing. So going back to the eye, we're going to start up here, add more shading and texture inside the head, and then we're just going to work our way across towards the beak. Again, sort of repeating the same steps we did with the rough sketch. With the lower beak, we're just going to darken up the front and then fade that across. And with each layer that we create, I want to also add a little bit of shadow just underneath. So the top layer casts a shadow on the bottom layer. So right here, it's going to darken that up a little bit. And then blend that down. And the wings are also going to cast a shadow across the body. So we're just going to darken up the bottom edge and then fade that out. I'm also going to darken up the bottom of the body and just taper that up. So this area is going to get pushed into shadow. So add a light shade on the body towards the wing. Now let's use the side edge, my 2mm pencil, to add some more texture and shadows. So just going to soften up the shadows and then add a little bit more blending. So now this pencil is going to introduce some more tones to our drawing to give it a little bit more shape. Now, as we get closer to the end of our drawing, I'm just going to tighten up my shadows and details, and always be sure to sign my artwork. And that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of a raven. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, you might want to check out this video over here. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.